In what initially appears to be a joyful moment, marking the beginning of a romantic evening, the story unfolds with a couple named Paul and Iris driving together, where Iris, blindfolded, is guided by Paul to an exciting surprise he had planned, an exclusive reservation at the newly launched, sky-high restaurant known as Skyview, an event that fills Iris with visible delight once her blindfold is removed, leading her to embrace Paul warmly. However, her excitement begins to waver as they ascend the elevator to the uppermost level of the building and learn from the staff that the tower's construction had concluded 5 months earlier than the projected timeline, which unsettles Iris, who expresses concern that rapid construction often compromises safety standards, an anxiety that intensifies as they reach the top and she is overwhelmed by her fear of heights, also known as acrophobia, prompting Paul to apologize for having misjudged the situation, though Iris forces a smile and agrees to stay, suggesting they begin the evening with some drinks. As Paul leaves briefly to get the drinks, Iris begins to feel lightheaded and rushes to the restroom, where a kind woman, later revealed to be a singer performing at the venue, notices Iris's condition and gently inquires if she is pregnant, which Iris initially hesitates to confirm, but eventually admits that she is indeed 2 weeks along, a fact she hasn't yet shared with Paul. The woman offers comfort and encouragement, even introducing her child who's accompanying her. And this uplifting encounter motivates Iris to rejoin Paul on the dance floor in an attempt to salvage the evening. But as the music plays and the celebration continues, danger begins to loom silently when a minor incident involving a decorative piece falling from a chandelier results in an unnoticed crack forming on the glass dance floor. While the guests remain unaware and continue dancing, Paul takes Iris to a higher observation point within the venue, where a young boy is seen about to toss a coin off the edge just for fun, but is stopped by a vigilant security guard. Seizing the romantic moment, Paul kneels and proposes to Iris, prompting her emotional revelation about the pregnancy, which fills Paul with elation, and after she accepts his proposal, he places the ring on her finger and they share a tender celebration. Though, unbeknownst to them, the same boy later drops the coin, which rolls into a ventilation shaft and jams the fan blades inside. A seemingly trivial event that sets into motion a devastating chain of consequences. From here, events escalate rapidly. Amidst the upbeat music, crackling sounds begin emerging from the glass floor, while the kitchen's open flame, the cocktail flares, and the rhythm of the band all blur into a crescendo of chaos. The glass floor finally gives way, causing numerous guests to fall to their deaths, sparking widespread panic as others scramble for safety, including Paul, who ends up hanging precariously from a fractured section of the platform, while Iris desperately attempts to save him, but is tragically unable to reach him in time, resulting in his fatal fall. Simultaneously, a woman's clothing catches fire, causing her to run in terror and inadvertently spread the flames until a full-blown explosion rips through the space, killing many more. And although the lift operator calls for evacuation via stairs, the structural failure continues as the staircase itself collapses, sending more people plummeting to their doom, after which the crowd surges toward the lift, which ultimately becomes overloaded and crashes down the shaft, leaving no survivors. With half the tower destroyed and death surrounding her, Iris spots the little boy calling for help, and in a desperate act of courage, she grabs his hand and leaps to grasp a protruding support beam, where they hang momentarily, only for the camera to reveal the horrifying truth, that they're suspended solely because her engagement ring is wedged between 2 nails. The ring finger begins to give under the tremendous weight of 2 lives, and in a gruesome moment, her finger tears apart, causing both of them to fall to their deaths, leading to an abrupt shift as the scene transitions to a young girl named Stephanie sitting in a classroom, jolted awake from what seems like a vivid and haunting daydream, for which she is reprimanded by her teacher and met with confusion from her classmates. We quickly learn that this isn't the first time she has dreamed of these terrifying events, and it's been disrupting her sleep for months, pushing her to investigate the truth behind the recurring nightmare. Especially after realizing that the woman in her vision is none other than her late grandmother, Iris. Driven by an urgent need for answers, Stephanie visits her father Marty and her brother Charlie, uncovering that their mother Darlene had abandoned them years ago, an act somehow tied to Iris, prompting Stephanie to continue her search for the truth by visiting her maternal uncle Howard, accompanied by Charlie, where she meets her extended family, cousins Bobby, Julia, Eric, and her Aunt Brenda, only for the atmosphere to darken noticeably when Iris's name is mentioned, ultimately revealing that Iris had abandoned both Howard and Darlene in their youth, leading to immense hardship. Howard confesses to having received cryptic letters from Iris, warning that death would return for the children of those who were meant to die, detailing death's eerie patterns, which led him to sever all ties with his mother. Still determined to learn more, Stephanie receives those letters from her Aunt Brenda, which guide her to Iris's hidden cabin, an isolated, heavily fortified structure surrounded by steel doors and outdated security measures, where she finds her grandmother alive, living in a dilapidated, nearly uninhabitable space without modern amenities. Iris reveals that the Skyview disaster wasn't just a dream, but a real event she had once prevented by stopping the boy from throwing the coin, seizing the microphone from the band, and warning guests to evacuate, actions that saved everyone and caused the venue to shut down, but also angered death itself, which began claiming those who were meant to die that night and even their future children, as they were never supposed to be born. Having exiled herself to protect her bloodline, Iris insists that as long as she stays hidden, death cannot progress along its path, thereby shielding her descendants. Stephanie, skeptical and overwhelmed, assumes her grandmother has gone mad and tries to leave, but Iris begs her to stay and hands her a book chronicling death's patterns. Yet before Stephanie can make sense of it, a bizarre and tragic incident occurs when a freak accident involving a weather vane and a fire extinguisher results in a shard of metal piercing Iris's face, killing her instantly and proving her warnings were real. Following Iris's funeral, where even Darlene makes an appearance, Stephanie continues studying the death book, sensing an ominous pattern that targets her family one by one. Meanwhile, Bobby accidentally contaminates the party's ice with glass shards after breaking a beer bottle, while the rest of the family unwinds during a casual get-together, until Stephanie arrives, sensing something is wrong, and witnesses a deadly domino effect. Howard steps on the shard, stumbles, and is killed gruesomely by a rogue lawnmower, further convincing everyone that death is hunting them. Using the order of their births to predict the next victims, Stephanie explains that Eric, Julia, Bobby, Darlene, herself, and finally Charlie are on death's list. Yet the family remains doubtful until Julia tragically dies after falling into a garbage bin and being crushed inside a truck compactor, an incident that reveals Eric was adopted, thus making Julia the next legitimate target and confirming Stephanie's theory. Desperate to survive, they seek out a man named JB at Hope River Hospital, revealed to be the same boy from Skyview, who offers grim advice: cheat death either by dying and being revived, or by taking another life to transfer one's fate. Despite his warnings, Eric devises a plan to induce Bobby's allergic reaction with peanut butter and then revive him. But the plan backfires in a horrifying sequence involving an active MRI machine, magnetic interference, metal piercings, and a spring-loaded vending machine component, resulting in both their gruesome deaths. This chain of events proves that even attempts to outsmart death often lead to further tragedy, prompting Darlene to isolate the remaining family members in Iris's cabin. But death's pursuit intensifies. Stephanie's van crashes, a gas leak ignites, and a massive explosion kills Darlene just after she saves Charlie, while Stephanie drowns in the submerged van, only to be revived by Charlie's CPR, leading them to briefly believe they've succeeded in breaking the cycle. Yet, in the film's haunting conclusion, Charlie, dressed for prom, is visited by Jenny's father, who informs him that Stephanie had never truly died. Her heart never stopped, and therefore death's chain remains unbroken. Moments later, a dropped coin prevents a railway track from shifting, leading a train carrying logs to derail, crushing both siblings and fulfilling death's final judgment. If this shocking journey through destiny and doom intrigued you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss more chilling recaps like this one.